Good morning, everybody. It's Friday morning, February 20th. I'm Brenda Starr. Welcome to the suite. And we are talking wild abundance again today. Because if you haven't heard the news, I authored a book and invited 17 of my friends to join in on it with me. And we are chatting and sharing all their stories about their own step into abundance and how to live an I Get to life. So we have a special guest today. She is right here in the middle of our lineup. Some of you might recognize her. This is the amazing Kat Cornell, and from the Creative Cat Studio. She's been around the suite a long time. She's going to tell her story. And what I love about her story, and I think is really going to resonate with a lot of people, is that she found herself at 62. She found her identity at 62. She stepped into her most abundant energy in her 60s. And when you hear her story of how she got there, I think it's going to inspire a lot of people. So, Kat, come on up. How are you? Good morning.
Good morning.
So I messaged Kat. So, true story, in true Brenda fashion, I overslept today. My husband normally wakes me up. I don't set an alarm because why would you set an alarm, right? That's ridiculous. My husband's a morning person. He normally wakes up like at 4:30. And he putters around in the kitchen and watches TV and does Wordle and all that kind of jazz. And then he looks at the calendar and he knows if he needs to wake me up for a meeting by like 8 or 9 or whatever. And then he wakes me up. He's my alarm clock. Well, this morning he went running with a friend at like 7 and I knew that, but he didn't wake me up before he left. So here's me waking up like 5 minutes before we're supposed to be live going, crap. Quick, let me throw on a sweater. So here we are. We're very fancy around here, as you know.
So prepared.
So prepared, so fancy. All right, Kat, tell us a little bit about, before we get into the book, before we get into your big transformation, your big story, tell us a little bit about who you are, how you got where you are, what you're doing now, all the things. Tell us that.
I am Kat Cornell. I am a creative instructor and Canva coach. I help small business owners save time, stress less, and work a little more confidently when they are in Canva. I've been in the graphic design space for decades. My first graphic design job was Photoshop version 1, which is probably before a lot of people were born. Very OG, very old school. And I live in South Florida with my husband and my son. And I'm a crazy cat lady, as most people who know me know.
No, I was really honestly surprised you weren't wearing your ears.
I know. I normally do, but I am in cat slippers, though. I do have cat slippers on.
You're always in cat slippers, though. That's nothing new. But you're also normally wearing your ears. So anyway, okay. So how did you come to be a Canva coach?
That was all you.
Well, let's hear that story, shall we?
So I'm a big tech nerd. I love anything technology. So anything that has to do with tech or devices or social media or graphics, I love all that stuff. I nerd out over all of that kind of stuff. And I was in graphic design for quite a while. And then when I had my kids, I was a stay-at-home mom, homeschooled my kids, went through high school graduation, and did sort of all the mom things.
I never knew you homeschooled all the way through high school.
I did, yeah. From 6th grade through high school, I homeschooled both our kids.
Wow, I did not know that piece of the story.
That might be where my teacher, I don't know, comes from.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Did all those things, and then, needed something else to do once they were on their own and adults. So because I love tech, I gravitated to tech support. So I do tech support for Apple devices and things like that. I'll go to people's homes, set up their devices, help them with all of their technology. And along the way, I gravitated into a direct sales company because I love jewelry. And this was like the perfect thing for me because I wanted to buy all the things at a discount. And a little while later, I thought, okay, let's make a little money from this, and turned it into a side hustle. And that's when I met you. You were a guest speaker. You were the keynote at one of our conventions at our leadership conference, and you blew my mind with all of the things that I had no idea I needed to do.
Marketing, baby, marketing.
Yeah, for sure. And of course, I followed you everywhere, literally everywhere, and learned a bazillion things. And little by little, started to gravitate into I needed something a little bit more. And when I decided to leave direct sales and move into something else, I naturally gravitated to tech support, which was sort of what I did all the time. And I tried to do all those things online, but I was really getting lost in the weeds with that. It was almost too big for me to handle because there were just too many different avenues. I was just pulled in too many directions. And we had that conversation on a Zoom meeting one day. And you said to me,
I drew you a graphic.
Yeah.
And I remember drawing you the axes.
Yes.
And I said, you can either here's the 4 quadrants, right?
Yes.
Where do you want to specialize?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. I remember.
And you called me out. You said, Canva is your thing. This is what you need to do.
Why are you fighting it?
And I hadn't even considered it either, which is bizarre given that I came from a graphic background. It didn't even occur to me that that should be my thing. But once you said it, everything clicked. It made everything crystal clear. It was bananas. It was amazing.
Oh no. So let's talk about this bad boy. Let's talk about this. So you are chapter 14 in the back, near the back, page 153.
Right next to Danny, who was on Monday.
Yes, you're right after Danny. And you're in the part of the book called Impact. You also could very easily be in the part of the book called Self. You could also fit there.
So, yeah.
Because your story, the reason I love your story is because, my camera just got fuzzy. What happened?
You got dark.
No, my camera.
There you go.
It wouldn't be a Brenda Live if there wasn't something wonky going on with my tech. Roll with it, baby. That's what we do here. Okay. So what I love about your story is that you really get quite vulnerable about how you ended up doing what you're doing in your 60s. Tell a little bit about how you let's dig into the story without giving away the plot, without giving away the end, because we want people to read it, obviously.
Yes.
So tell a little bit about some of the fear, maybe, that stepping into something new that you've had huge success in, that I don't know if ever you can share. You are more than welcome to share the story of like what happened 8 months ago when suddenly, bam, all at one time, Pat is a superstar. Quite literally all at one time.
Yeah.
How did that happen? Because there's a lot of women, I think, who would really relate to my 60s. I'm slowing down. I want to retire. I don't want to compete with people who are 25. I'm too old. You're like, nuh-uh, watch me, hold my beer. Let's hear that.
But you know what? That realization did not come easy. That was a hard transition for me to kind of step into that, because here I am, 62. I'll be 63 in 6 weeks, and I'm in this new digital space with all of these people that are half my age or younger.
Yeah.
Most of the people in my creative space weren't even born yet when I started doing my graphic design. And it's very intimidating, especially when you step out of the work life and make a conscious decision to be a stay-at-home mom. Where my husband was fully supportive of that. He was fully supportive of that I would stay home with the kids. That was my choice to do that, and then homeschool them, and then realize after that, okay, well, now what do I do? Yeah, what do I do? And I tried the different things, and while they were great, it did not light me up. It just didn't. I was just sort of going through the motions. And when you threw out to me, okay, you need to do this Canva thing,
Like, why are
I
you
was
fighting
terrified. Yeah, but I was terrified because I grew up very old school. We didn't have social media. We
Right.
didn't have mobile
Exactly.
devices.
Of course.
I mean, my high school didn't even have computers until I was a senior in high school. And here I am now trying to break into this new environment with people who have literally grown up with these devices.
Mhm.
And it was really, really scary because I had so much fear. Could I even do this? Did I even want to do this and try to compete with these other people in my space? It was terrifying. It really was.
Yeah, no, I know. We pushed through a lot of mindset. Now,
Very much.
the silver lining here, and this is where every person over 40, over 50, over 60, people in our community over 70, part of the silver lining of that superpower is that you have so much more depth of experience, right? It's just the fear of how do I channel that experience of 50, 60 years of living that somebody who's 30 doesn't have. I fight
Yes.
with that too, because I'm 55 talking about AI on the internet, competing with the tech bros who are like, let's code, man. And I'm like, no, let's not code. Let's talk about making pretty slides that make your life easier and help you save money. Right. So sort of the same. I get myself caught up in that as well. I'm like, I'm competing with somebody who's 25 and was born with an iPhone in his hand. And then there's us, us. I'm a little younger, but not much. We didn't get cable TV until I was in college.
Yeah.
Our big tech investment was a microwave when I was in high school. So we didn't have any of that. My first
Yes.
computer when I was in my 20s. So
Same.
that's all exactly how those of us who have lived experience have so much more to bring to the table in how we get to choose to add value. Okay, now tell the Canva story of how once you dug in and you started really getting over the mindset of, okay, maybe I could do this. Maybe I could really step into my new identity, my new best self, my biggest abundance at 62. I get to be over 60 and build a business that truly feels like me. What happened?
It was such a transformation mentally. It was such a transformation to fully embrace that I'm okay with my age, and I'm okay being in this space with people who are 20, 30, 40 years younger than me. And I have to tell the story that I shared with you a couple of minutes ago before we hopped on. So last year, around August, this was a couple months after you had invited me to write my chapter, you had gravitated into TikTok and brought all of us with you.
Yep.
and said, hey,
We're
you
going
need
to
to go
TikTok, people. Let's go. Get on board.
We're moving to TikTok. Let's go play there.
Let me interrupt for 1 second, because those who are not in the circle, I have a small mastermind coaching group, and I'm very, very transparent about what I'm doing in my business. I talk all about how I'm behind the scenes, exactly what I'm doing and why. And so when I said, I'm moving to TikTok, y'all, come watch. And people were like, oh, I guess we're going to TikTok now. Okay. So I brought y'all with me because I'm transparent about how I run my own business and how I work my systems and my funnels and my strategy and the why under it. So when you say we were going to TikTok, I just want to make sure there was some context of like, well, why were you going to TikTok?
Yeah.
Where did that come from? That's where that came from.
Oh yeah. Well, I was already on for about a year and a half. I was on my primary channel was Instagram and YouTube. Those are my two big primary channels. So I was already producing content Canva tips and training. I have a monthly membership where I train small business owners. So I was already doing all of that on those other social platforms,
Right.
but I wasn't really doing anything on TikTok. It was just
TikTok
sort
was
of a,
scary. It was
oh, very.
it was scary and unhinged. It was like, I
It,
don't know how to play over here. And then
TikTok is way different.
it's a different beast.
It is. It is. So it, that fear kind of came back again, when we were doing all that. But, as you tend to do, you like to push us over the ledge.
I do. I do push you over the ledge.
Jump both feet. Okay, fine. Let's just jump both feet and let's see what happens. Why not? What could happen? So, I jumped in both feet, and I had just shared this with you a couple minutes ago when I sent my final draft of my chapter to you was right around the beginning of August, beginning to middle of August. And I went onto TikTok at the same time. And 4 days later, one of my videos went viral with over 1 million views in 4 days.
Yeah.
Blew my mind. I was freaking out.
Yeah.
I had no idea what to do with that. And was like, well, now what happens?
Now what do we do?
And you basically said you ride the wave.
Now we get your
take
funnels organized and figure out how to get these people moved.
And it was a lot. It was a lot of scrambling because I really didn't have a lot of that in place yet. And I was like, well, oh darn, now I really have to be serious about this, because now I'm getting all of these reach outs and these DMs and people interested in all of this stuff. And without even realizing it, I think that writing my chapter, because I had never really said out loud what I put in my chapter. All of that was kept internal. I never shared it with anybody else. And it was, it was very emotional to write that, because I had never said it out loud. And I think subconsciously that when I submitted the chapter, and then at the same exact time, which I just realized happened 3 days ago, at the same exact time, TikTok started to explode for me. I think maybe subconsciously it was a release. Writing that chapter subconsciously I just let go of what was holding me back. And it didn't even occur to me. Yeah, this is who I am.
Amazing. It's so amazing.
Crazy. It's crazy.
It's so good. It's so good. This is what abundance looks like. It's not something that, when we talk about how to live and I get to life and wild abundance, every single story in this book is very, very different. They're very different, but they all fundamentally have the same outcome of stepping into gratitude and your best identity and your best self, and truly living as authentically as you can, and embracing who you are and the gratitude for what you have to offer, right?
Absolutely.
And once you stepped into that, so the way that, for anyone who doesn't know, the way that the book came together is I wrote chapter 1 called Rewriting the Narrative. What does it mean to live and I get to life? And I sent that chapter to all 17 women. And I said, this is the anchor. I want you to write, or I invite you to write, any story you want to write. Anything you want to write at all that represents how you are living and I get to life. It could be, there's people who stepped into their identity after divorce, after death of a spouse, after someone who donated a kidney, someone who prioritized their family, someone who lost a business, there was medical trauma. There's all kinds of different stories of how someone stepped into their I get to moment. And yours was, I shed the expectations and the fear of being over 60 and building something for me that I really, really love.
Yes.
And it's so empowering when you finally realize, oh, that's what abundance means. When you're like, oh, I get it. I understand it now. It's almost impossible to explain until you're in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just is.
Yeah,
So
you don't see it in the beginning, you know,
and you don't
it
see it
doesn't.
at all.
No, no, not at all.
It's
And then
kind of
one,
like
it's
boiling
that
the frog. It's
for
boiling the
sure.
frog. Does everyone know what boiling the frog means, you guys? Anyone who's watching? Okay. If you if you have a pot of boiling water, okay, and you drop a frog in, this is the old boiling the frog metaphor, and the frog will hop right out because the water's hot. But if you put a frog in a pot of cold water and slowly turn up the heat, the frog will boil itself because it doesn't realize it's changing, right?
No,
That's what this is. You don't
yeah.
realize you're changing when I'm soaking you in abundance all the time and trying to drag you through it.
Yes. Sometimes kicking and screaming.
Sometimes kicking and screaming. That's exactly right. So, Kat, what do you hope that a woman who's listening or reading, what do you hope she takes away from your chapter? What do you hope is your message?
You know, it's never too late. And don't listen to anybody who tells you it is, because if it's something that you are truly passionate about, if it's something that lights you up, if it's something that makes you get up every morning and be grateful, that's the thing for you.
Mhm.
Don't let anybody stop you from doing it. Don't let fear, don't let anything stop you from doing that, because there's going to be so many people who will try to stand in your way.
Mhm.
There will be people who tell you you can't. They'll tell you you're not good enough, you're not talented enough, you're not pretty enough, you're not smart enough, whatever those roadblocks are. And you have to just realize that it doesn't matter. Put the noise away. It doesn't matter what they think. All
Uh-huh.
that matters is what you want to share, and you have something to share with other people.
Your
Just to
value.
do it.
Your
Yeah.
abundance and your value that you want to give away freely because so many other people like, and you've heard me say this, if anyone watching, if you've been around the suite for a while, you've heard me say this. I don't care if you get it with me, but I want you to be wildly successful. I don't
Yes.
care if you coach with me or somebody else. I still want you to be successful. I
Yes.
still want you to have everything you want in your life, whether you get it with me or not. I still want you to have it. That's where abundance lives, in that space, in that mindset of saying, I want you to, in your case, explore your creativity and find your best self and use tools that make your life easier. And it's my privilege and my honor and my obligation to give that away.
Yes. And that's it, just to give it away, because a lot of people nowadays gatekeep
Yeah,
their content. And I just want to help people. That's
right,
it.
right. Now, by virtue of helping people, your funnel is doing very nicely.
Yes, it is.
So
Yes, it is.
let's talk about the balance. Let's talk about the balance of abundance as well as boundaries in business.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, I don't want you to be a doormat. Somebody who gives away everything and doesn't hold back some of that value for yourself isn't building a business, right?
And
So,
that's something you have to really make sure that you pay attention to, because
yes,
it is very easy to just keep giving it away for free. You have to
yes,
make sure that you protect what's yours as well.
yes. You have to create a little bit of that's where your funnels work. That's where your systems work. That's where opting into things work. That's where very predictable Brenda math works. That's where systems happen, right? You give away as much as you possibly can so that your systems can work for you.
Yes.
And they've been
Yes.
working for you. We've got all the
Absolutely.
internal systems working to the point where I said, Kat, you need to stop building new systems. They work already. Stop building new things. You need to go play with new people, get in front of new audiences, and accelerate your top funnel growth. It's not about building new email systems in the middle. That's not
Right.
where your growth is.
And the you know, just because the other thing too that I hope people get from this is that just because you may have found that thing, that doesn't mean you stop either, because just like where I am now, like you said, don't build anything new, but I'm still growing too. I'm still learning new things too, and learning how to be my best self, so that I get to do these things more and more. So it doesn't just stop with the realization. You just keep going.
Yep. A new level, new devil, baby. That's all it is. You're
Yeah.
like, oh,
Yeah.
new plateau. What's up? What's up here? Oh, look, collaborations, ad strategy. Oh, look at all these things I hadn't done before.
Exactly. Something new.
Something new to play with. I know. I'll push you there too. It's all good.
I know.
All right, guys. So we have a big announcement this morning about Wild Abundance. I know. So Kat's the only person who knew, because she's like, well, how many have you sold? And I was like, I don't even know. I better go look. This morning, you guys, yesterday we were at 99. Today, overnight, we hit 100 books sold from Wild Abundance. My passion and mission is that more women in my community specifically, but more people in general, step into their best self. And these stories of how to live an I get to life, the opposite of I get to is I have to. I get to is an abundance statement of I get to build my best business. I get to share my value. I get to be a wife and mom and business person. And this is something I wanted. My gosh, if 25-year-old Brenda could look at 55-year-old Brenda, she would be like, damn, girl, you earned it. You got good for you, and the claps on you. Well done. But we tend to forget that everything we wanted is now what we have.
Yep.
We tend to forget that.
Yep.
I get to live the life that I desired to live. Oh my God, how lucky am I? Right?
Absolutely.
And we forget about that. And this is really where Wild Abundance lives. How do you live and I get to life? So, Kat, thank you for joining me this morning. We
My
have
pleasure.
just hit our goal, my original goal. I didn't write this book to make money. I don't do anything to make money. That's just a byproduct of what I love to do. And this book for me was a closing of the chapter of my cancer journey. It was the book, so the way, for anyone who hasn't read it yet, my chapters are 1 and 19, and all my collaborators are 2 through 18. So I did the bookends of the book, and they wrote the middle. And the reason I wrote this was there was something about 8 months ago that was kind of like, you got to close this chapter, Brenda. You got to figure out how to put a bookend on this and move on from the 2 years of debacle of cancer and grief and trauma and all the things that happened to me. Because you stepped out of it, you grew through it, you transformed your life and your business and your health, and there's a story here to be told. That's the story that anchors the book. Everyone else's stories are the middle that support that. They're sort of the scaffolding of the message. And my goal was to sell 100 books. That was it. That was my goal. It was like,
and from us on we saw that transformation in you as well. We saw how different you were after you got to that realization yourself. You were lighter. It was completely different for you. We all saw that happen.
Completely different. And I'm still me, but I'm a better version of me.
Yeah.
I'm still fundamentally me, but my stepping into a different mindset of what I get to do and not living in a space of fear and obligation and guilt
and scarcity.
Yeah. Oh man.
It's so empowering.
It is such
to realize that.
It's so empowering and so different to live in a space of going, I can prioritize my family and my health and myself and still serve at my highest level. Yeah. I can do both. I get to do both without feeling like I'm sacrificing anything. It's a totally different space.
It's amazing.
It's awesome. All right.
Yeah.
So let's see. Who am I talking to next week? Let me look because I don't remember. Let's see. Okay. Ooh, next week we have 2 very interesting and different stories. On Wednesday next week, we're talking to Yvette LaFleur.
Oh, love
Yvette, her husband died about, I'm going to mess up the timing, maybe a year-ish ago. And he had been diagnosed with cancer, and she had a long runway of anticipatory grief that she knew it was coming. And her story is really compelling because she found the abundance and gratitude of both grief and joy at the same time. how do you live in that space? And then Monica Preston is on Friday, and Monica had she quite literally, her heart broke open, and her story is all about medical trauma, but also a really, really interesting angle and realization that part of what drove her to that was some of her overworking tendencies. She had heart surgery. She had an aortic dissection. Her aorta literally split open, and most people die from that. That's what John Ritter died from. And she was lucky enough to get surgery and recover, but she went right back into her old ways. She went right back into her overworking tendencies. So she then got let go from Wells Fargo and realized maybe there's life on the other side of medical. And, when life happens to you and you pause to reflect, you're like, maybe this is the best thing ever.
And so she's thriving now.
And she's thriving. She just got back from Maui. She messaged me. She's like, look at, I'm on the beach looking at the ocean. You suck. Thanks for that. So anyway, their stories are next week. If you have not grabbed Wild Abundance yet, it's on Amazon. It's been my honor and privilege to share and highlight all these women's stories. Kat, your story is chapter 14. I'm really, really honored that you chose to share it here. And I hope people are inspired by it. I hope they feel like, okay, she was brave. She found her voice and her identity over 60 and doing what she loves and is great at. Kat, for those who don't know, Kat grew, I looked last night because I wanted to see the number. Kat has gained over 130,000 followers on TikTok in 8 months. You guys.
That's crazy.
8 months. She's gaining on average 100 to 200 followers a day.
Yeah.
A day.
And email. I'm getting about 100 a week in email now.
Unbelievable.
It's crazy.
When you talk about stepping into your value and your mindset and your abundance and what you want to share and what your passion is, that's where it happens.
Yeah. Everything clicks once you let go of whatever that fear is.
Right. The scarcity of I have to.
Yeah.
We step into I get to.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing? You guys.
It's wild.
All right. Happy Friday, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in. I will see you next week, and we'll be back with some more I Get To stories. And if you haven't already, go pick it up. It's on Amazon. See you guys soon. Bye, friends.